individual throttle bodies. Maybe you've heard of them, maybe you haven't. Also known as ITBs. They're just a way of getting air into a motor, but they're also the coolest way of getting air into a motor. I'll get into the technicalities of why they're so awesome in a minute, but first, I'm just gonna let you hear for yourself. In 3, 2, So I wanted this intro to be all about ITB noises, but as I was editing it, I heard how crispy this exhaust is, and so I figured I would replay it with just the exhaust mic. This is a gray market Euro M535i that the owner, Chris, has really tastefully turned into a full Euro spec E28 M5. Now the original E28 M5, both the US and the Euro spec, was basically a 535. And what I mean is it has the same chassis. It's not like seam welded or braced in some different way. It has a different subframe and different shock springs and sway bars, but other than that, the only changes are powertrain for the M5 from the top of the line non-M5 series. Now, Chris has gone a little further and added these incredible 16-inch hardco wheels, racing dynamic springs, suspension techniques, adjustable sway bars, and Koni shocks. I love these little 80s spoilers. I have not started this thing, I have not driven it. Here we go, key. This all feels very familiar to me as a longtime E21 owner. It's just, everything's just nicer. But the same energy in here. Okay, here we go. Very relaxed little start up there. Here we go, first impression. Clutch is heavier than any other 80s BMW I've driven. Shorter, take up right in the middle. Okay, mirrors, so excited. Ooh, nice long steering rack. This is the shortest one available for the E28, but this is an 80s BMW at the end of the day. I'm just immediately happy to be here. Just grateful to be in this car. Wow. Oh, the ride quality is really special, actually. Make sure my horn works. Yeah, good. Not a lot of low-end torque in the early 2000s here. You know, it doesn't feel like what I've experienced with, which is a S52. There we go. This is bad. This is really bad. I want this car. Wow. What's really nice is that the on center is there, you know, like there's no play, but it's sort of soft. But then once you're out of that maybe 3 inches of center here and there, then it sort of has this feeling of tightening up and being like, okay, tell me what to do. Let's do it. One of the things about old cars is they make it fun to go the speed limit. That's priceless. Because you don't want to be going around like itching all the time. Like you do in a heavy, high horsepower car. You're like, let me go a little faster. In this, I'm like, speed limit? Sounds good to me. The gas pedal is so linear. The difference between 5/6 throttle position and 6/6 throttle position is meaningful. Same with 4/6 to 5/6. It has a really specific gas pedal, really poised. Not Mercedes poised, where you feel like you're in a dense block of straightness, but BMW poised, where you're like, it has a kind of agility that it's keeping under a sport coat. Really pleasing idle too. So here's why ITBs are so cool from a technical perspective. In a normal, less awesome car, you have an intake filter, which goes to a tube, which goes to an air metering system of some sort. Then it goes to a single throttle body plate, which has a butterfly. When you press the gas, it opens, it lets more air in, and then that air goes through a plenum, or an intake manifold, which has runners which feed the air into each cylinder. This doesn't work like that. Each one of these runners has its own throttle plate inside of it. And it's all connected by this epic linkage. Technically, you can go one step further with awesomeness by having individual throttle bodies that each open to the air by themselves with trumpets. But it means that your engine won't have any accessible vacuum to help with signaling or metering or brake boosting or whatever an engine needs vacuum for. You can think of a normal intake system as a mama bird. And the mama bird brings a giant worm to feed all 6 of its children. Let's take a straight 6, for example. Mama bird comes, intake, throws a giant worm of air, and all 6 of those little baby birds fight over it. And they each get different amounts of that air at different speeds and in different kind of rhythms, basically. What individual throttle bodies do is it's as if Mama Bird came and then she split that big worm of air into 6 worms and gave one of those worm pieces to each cylinder. That, coupled with the really small diameter of where the air actually goes through the throttle plate, helps with the velocity of the air. The best throttle response you can have is with a well-tuned ITB setup. And it also gives you that amazing chomping sound of the engine eating air, which is just one of the best motoring noises of all time. A lot of cars are celebrated for their clarity of purpose. Think about a Miata. Impractical roadster. You look at it, you're like, that's tiny. And you see the numbers, 2,000 pounds. You get in it, you drive it, it's exactly what you expect. The most fun you've ever had, and not really that useful for trips to Home Depot. And a lot of times when people are disappointed by cars, it's because they don't have that clarity of purpose. So the biggest gamble you can take, in my opinion, is doing a kind of cross-genre car, a car that has 2 or 3 purposes. BMW said, we're gonna make a stately executive-sized sedan, but it's gonna light your hair on fire at high RPMs and hurtling around hairpins. Just like crossing musical genres, if you fail, the cringe factor is maximal. If you combine rap and rock and it sounds like whatever Lil Wayne was doing in 2007, people aren't gonna be happy. If it sounds like Rage Against the Machine, well then you've done something not only right, but transcendent. And that's what BMW did with their first M5. Nowadays, this is normal. Even the Civic Type R, which used to be a honed down 2-door racing machine, is now a large 4-door sedan. So from today's perspective, we look around and we see super sedans all over the place. But they're all pretty heavy, and very few of them have any kind of analog feeling to them the way that contemporary Miata was able to retain, for example. But with this, you get the analog feeling of an 80s sports car, but I, at 6 foot, 200 pounds, can sit in the front, not move the front seat, and get in the back and be perfectly comfortable. There have been many super sedans since this one. And there were, in fact, quite a few super sedans before, from the likes of Jaguar, Alfa Romeo. But this particular super sedan not only was the first of its kind, a very practical, German, pretty reliable real do-it-all machine with a racing heart. It was also the last of its kind. Now, how's that possible? There's an M5 that came out right after this M5 was done. But that M5 is 700 pounds heavier than this M5. This is about 3,100 pounds, give or take. The E34 M5, the next generation, is 38 something. You can't add 700 pounds to a car and say it's the same kind of vehicle, especially to something as sporting as an M5. Now, when I go around this beautiful hairpin, oh my God, no matter what suspension tricks, sway bar things people are doing, you can't make 700 pounds disappear. Nowadays, of course, the M5 is completely lost. I mean, it's an M12 or whatever at this point. I don't know what it weighs, 6,000 pounds or something. So I think it's not just the rarity and the beauty of this car that makes it worth so much. It's also the fact that when you think of sporting intent as being directly related to the weight of a car, the last of its kind. Check out that! We got the Bremslicht and the Rücklicht and the Kennzeichen and the Abendlicht and the Weichwasser and the Koelwasser.